Max, Maya, Leo, and Chloe were the fearsome four, not because they were scary, but because they were inseparable. They did everything together, from school projects to weekend adventures. Their bond was unbreakable, and everyone at Northwood Middle knew it. Max, the tallest, had a knack for leadership. He was the one who always came up with the plans and made sure everyone stuck to them. His confidence was contagious, and his friends trusted him completely. Maya, with her bright eyes, noticed everything. She had a keen sense of observation and could pick up on the smallest details that others often missed. Her intuition was almost uncanny, making her the group's detective. Leo, the quiet one, was a tech whiz. He could hack into any system and solve the most complex puzzles. His skills were invaluable, especially when the group needed to uncover hidden information or crack a code. And Chloe, always bubbly, could talk her way out of anything. Her charm and wit made her the perfect negotiator. She could diffuse any tense situation with just a few words and a smile. They were best friends, sharing secrets, dreams, and now, a mystery. They had a special place where they would meet every day after school to discuss their latest adventures and plans. It was their sanctuary, a place where they felt safe and could be themselves. It all started on a day like any other. The school was buzzing with the usual chatter and laughter. Teachers were preparing their lessons, and students were busy with their assignments. Sunlight streamed through the windows of their classroom, casting a warm glow on their desks. Everything seemed normal, but little did they know, things were about to change. But as the days passed, a strange feeling settled over their school, Northwood Middle. Students started disappearing. It began with whispers and rumors, but soon the fear became palpable. One day it was Emily, the star athlete, gone without a trace. Her friends searched everywhere, but she was nowhere to be found. The school was in shock, and the fearsome four knew they had to do something. Then it was Ben, the class clown, vanished from his desk. His jokes and laughter were sorely missed, and the atmosphere grew even more tense. The fearsome four realized that this was no ordinary mystery. They had to uncover the truth before it was too late. Fear replaced laughter in the hallways. Whispers of a ghost, a kidnapper, maybe even an alien abduction, filled the air. The fearsome four knew they had to do something. They couldn't just sit back and watch their friends disappear. They had to find out what was happening.
This is crazy. We have to find out where they're going.
Maya, ever observant, noticed something odd.
Look, that's Emily's. I've seen her wearing it.
Clues began to surface, each one stranger than the last. A torn piece of paper with a cryptic message. The clock strikes 13. A book left open in the library, its pages filled with bizarre symbols. The fearsome four were like detectives, piecing together a puzzle with missing pieces. The more they discovered, the more confusing it became.
Guys, check this out. The security cameras, they're turned off for exactly 5 minutes every day at noon.
The fearsome four exchanged glances. This wasn't just some prank. Someone was deliberately making students disappear. But who? And why? Their investigation led them to the old, abandoned music room, always shrouded in shadows. The room had been left untouched for years, its secrets buried under layers of dust and neglect. The air was thick with dust and the smell of damp wood. It was as if time had stood still in this forgotten corner of the school. As they stepped inside, a chill ran down their spines. The eerie silence was only broken by the occasional creak of the old wooden floorboards. It felt like someone was watching them. Every shadow seemed to move and every corner held a secret. A floorboard creaked under Max's foot, echoing through the room like a ghostly whisper. He bent down, pushing aside a dusty rug that had been undisturbed for years. The dust swirled in the air, catching the dim light from the windows. And there it was, a trapdoor, hidden beneath. It was old and worn, but it was unmistakably a door to somewhere unknown.
This is it. This is where they're taking everyone. The whispered words hung in the air, filled with a mix of fear and determination.
With bated breath, they slowly lifted the heavy wooden door. It groaned in protest, as if it hadn't been opened in decades. A musty smell wafted up from the darkness below. It was a smell of decay and forgotten memories. They grabbed each other's hands, their hearts pounding in their chests. The fear was palpable, but so was their resolve. They were about to enter the unknown. Every step they took was a step into a mystery that had been hidden for far too long. The darkness seemed to swallow them as they descended, but they knew they had to keep going. The truth was down there, waiting to be uncovered. Section 5. Trapped! The trapdoor slammed shut above them, echoing through the narrow passage. They were plunged into darkness, the kind that seemed to swallow every bit of light and hope.
Ah, the sound of panic filled the air.
Chloe screamed, her voice trembling with fear and uncertainty. Leo fumbled for his flashlight, its beam cutting through the inky black, revealing the rough earthen walls around them. They were in a narrow earthen tunnel, the walls closing in on them, making the space feel even more confined. The air was heavy and damp, making it hard to breathe, each breath a struggle against the oppressive atmosphere. Fear tightened its grip on them, their hearts pounding in their chests. What had they gotten themselves into? The question hung in the air, unspoken but felt by all.
We're trapped! The realization hit them like a ton of bricks.
Maya cried, her voice echoing through the tunnel, a haunting reminder of their dire situation. The walls were cold and damp against their skin, a chilling reminder of the reality they faced. The only sound was the drip, drip, drip of water somewhere in the darkness, a constant, eerie reminder of their isolation. They had to get out of there. Determination began to replace fear as they realized they needed to find a way out. But which way to go? The tunnel seemed to stretch endlessly, with multiple paths leading into the unknown, and were they alone in the darkness? The thought sent shivers down their spines as they glanced around nervously, hoping for a sign, any sign of a way out. Section 6. A clue in the dark. They stumbled through the tunnel, their hands trailing along the rough walls. The only light came from Leo's flickering flashlight. Suddenly, Chloe gasped.
Look!
On the wall, barely visible in the dim light, was a series of numbers etched into the stone.
5, 12, 3, 9, 1.
What does it mean?
It's a code!
Leo exclaimed, his eyes sparkling with excitement.
But what does it unlock?
The tunnel seemed to stretch on forever. They were beginning to lose hope. Just when their fear was threatening to overwhelm them, they spotted a faint light ahead. Could it be the way out? Section 7. Teamwork to the rescue. The light led them to a heavy wooden door. It was locked. Maya exclaimed. They frantically tried different combinations of the numbers. Nothing. S2. Media. Students looking frustrated. Close-up of a student shouting in frustration. The code!
Let's think.
Max took a deep breath.
What if it's not a combination lock?
You mean like a directional lock?
Leo's eyes widened.
Maybe each number represents a direction?
Working together, they tried turning the lock according to the numbers on the wall. 5 clicks right, 12 clicks left, 3 clicks right. Suddenly, there was a loud click. The door swung open. They emerged into a large, brightly lit room, but it wasn't what they expected. There were no kidnappers, no ghosts, no aliens. Instead, they found their missing classmates sitting around a table laughing and talking. And standing in the middle of it all with a twinkle in his eye was Mr. Johnson, their history teacher. "Surprise!" Mr. Johnson boomed, his voice echoing through the room. The fearsome four stared at him in astonishment.
Mr. Johnson, what's going on?
"Welcome to my escape room, kids. I designed it myself to teach you all a valuable lesson."
Escape room, but why?
I wanted to teach you all about teamwork, logic, and problem solving. And what better way than to put you in a situation where you had to rely on each other to escape? Besides, history can be a bit dull sometimes, don't you think? The fearsome four looked at each other, their initial shock giving way to amusement.
Mr. Johnson, you really had us going there.
And you all did an incredible job. You worked together, used your strengths, and solved every puzzle. The missing students were returned to their classrooms, safe and sound. The story of Mr. Johnson's elaborate escape room spread like wildfire through the school. And while some students shook their heads in disbelief, others were intrigued. The fearsome four learned a valuable lesson that day. They learned that even in the most frightening situations, working together and using their heads could help them overcome any obstacle. They also learned that Mr. Johnson, their history teacher, was full of surprises. And maybe, just maybe, history wasn't so dull after all. But even with the mystery solved, a lingering question remained. How did Mr. Johnson manage to pull off such an elaborate scheme? How did he create the secret room, the clues, the puzzles, all without anyone noticing? And how did he convince the other students to play along? It seemed that even with the answer revealed, a touch of mystery still lingered in the halls of Northwood Middle. And the fearsome four knew, deep down,